Hello guys, it is Cologne Music here with a different kind of video than usual. So today I realized that I've actually been rapping for 10 years, which I actually think I've been writing music longer than that, but I've been performing it for at least 10 years, though good luck finding any of that. I could find it, but I'm not gonna fucking tell you guys how to. Anyway, um, And I realized that having done this for 10 years, I've actually learned quite a lot since I started. And I wish I knew a lot of this stuff and I thought about this kind of stuff whenever I had started. Probably would have saved me a lot of time, possibly years. Um, but when I started, I was just goofing off. I was 15 years old. Me and my friend Brandon, who I'm not going to get really deep into, we just goofed off and did whatever we thought was cool at the time. And we didn't really put a lot of thought into it, but that's actually one of the more important things I'm going to be getting to later, which is to I'll explain it later. So let's just begin. And I just felt like putting that art there. You're welcome. So we're gonna go ahead and start right off on number one. Writing is the most important, and I truly do believe this. Though I will say this slightly depends on your style and what kind of rap you're trying to do. But most of the time, almost all of the time, the writing is going to be the most important, and the reason is because not only are you going to become better and better at getting your points across, staying on topic, and stuff like that from writing more and more and more and more, but you're also going to become better at rhyming, better at setting up your syllables for each bar as you attempt to lay the punchlines on each snare and stuff like that. And you're also going to slowly realize that the flow and the cadence of what you are trying to rap heavily, heavily, heavily depends on the way it is written. And you could write something out and flow it three different ways that completely sound different. But if it's written badly, then no matter what way you attempt to perform what you've written, it won't sound good. So the writing is very, very, very important. And you should spend more time doing that than almost anything else that you do, unless you're going for more of a pop kind of radio sound. But I think even then, you probably still should spend a lot of time writing. Number two is select your beats carefully. I'm not going to touch on this one too long, but it is really important that the vibe that you're looking for in each of your songs is well represented in the beat. And this can be kind of hard to do sometimes, but each of your songs should have a general vibe that you're going for, that before you even start rapping, I can kind of tell exactly the feelings I'm supposed to be getting from your song just from hearing the beat. Three, this one's pretty big to me. Learn to produce on your own. Now, a lot of people skip right over this one, and I'm not really sure why. It could be because they feel they don't have the resources that they need to do so, though, admittedly, there was a time where I used to produce on my phone, actually. I got FL Studio Mobile for $20 off the Google Play Store, and I fucked around with it for a little while and I learned as much as I could from it. And eventually I got a laptop and I got the real version of FL Studio on my laptop. Thank you, Gary. That's my brother. And this is pretty important for a couple reasons. First of all, you're going to learn a lot about music from doing it, just from making your own beats and stuff like that. You will kind of build up a natural sense of musicality and being able to just kind of feel the music that you're listening to as you try to rap to it now. And also, a really big part of producing for me personally is when you do it yourself, you can really get in each and every little detail to your song that every producer that you work with might not know that you want to do, and they might not do it the way you want it to, even if you tell them to do it. Like, say there's a specific line in your song that you really want emphasized, and maybe you want like a little pause in the beat right there with some echoes, some reverb on it. You will be able to do that on your own better than anybody else can, because you know what you want it to sound like. So I very, 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 very highly recommend learning to produce on your own. Number 4, give your music time to breathe. This one is also kind of big, because there's a lot of times where, geez, I fucked that up. There's a lot of times where you will record a song and you won't immediately even know if it's good. I recommend giving each song that you make a day or two to just kind of breathe and exist before you decide whether or not you're going to actually use this song or post this song anywhere. Because after you make the song and you hear it on a loop for hours and hours and hours, you're not really going to be able to tell actually like how it sounds to a new fresh pair of ears that are hearing it for the first time. And if you give it like a day or two to really breathe, and then listen to the song that you just made again after a couple days, you will be able to appreciate it from a new perspective, and really also pick out like what flaws there may be in the song, and then go back and fix them later. And so this is pretty big. 5, be ready to take some L's. Now, a lot of people can't handle this part. A lot of people get some criticism, or they put a lot of hard work and time and love and energy into something that they create, and it doesn't go as they expect. Maybe the video doesn't get as many views as they wanted, or whatever. And the reality of it is that is just how life is, and sometimes things just don't go the way that you want them to. I could not sit here and list off the amount of songs that I have made in the past that I thought should have performed a lot better than they did, but they didn't. And really what you can take from this is go back and re-listen and really take in the songs that maybe didn't do so well, and also try to pay attention to what time of day you posted your songs, and see if that has any bearing as to why maybe they didn't do so well. Maybe the art or the thumbnail you went for wasn't so great, and maybe it wasn't even exactly the song's fault that it didn't do so well. But anyway, no matter what way you look at it, you are going to take some L's. There's no way around it. Every artist that you've ever heard in your fucking life has taken some L's. All of them. If you can find me a music artist that's never taken a single L, I will be so impressed, because they all have. They all have. Number 6, don't be afraid to scrap your songs. This one hurts a little bit, because sometimes you feel like you're really on to something, but you just can't seem to make it work the way that you have in your mind, and you kind of just have to let go of an idea, and that can suck. But scrapping songs is something that every music artist does. I guarantee you, if you were to ask Eminem about it, or Kendrick Lamar, or Drake, or any big music artist, they would tell you, if they weren't lying to you, that they probably have hundreds of songs that nobody has ever heard and never will hear, because they didn't like them and they scrapped them. This is why when music artists pass away, we get a lot of posthumous albums that have a lot of their unreleased music coming out, because those are actually the scrapped songs that sometimes after the artist passes away, a producer will kind of take up the mantle and try to fix those songs that they scrapped. And that's why usually those posthumous albums are actually some of the weaker ones in the discography of the artist, which is a bit sad to see. Number 7, take breaks occasionally. This is pretty big too, because you will get burnt out eventually. No matter what you do to try to prevent it, if you are making music every single day, constantly for years straight, you will get burnt out. Whether it's from writer's block, whether it's from just like not being able to perform the way that maybe you're used to performing or that you would like to. And taking a break can really, oh sorry, I had to burp. Taking a break can really do a lot for you in this way. I really recommend having alternate hobbies. As you saw at the beginning of this video, I draw sometimes. That's a good thing to do. I play a lot of video games, and there are times where I made no music for like a year straight before coming back to it. And every time that I took a long break like that, coming back to it, I had a lot of new ideas to try. I had a lot of new perspectives on things, and it really just helped my sound overall over time. Number 8, be a perfectionist. This one, I don't mean too literally, but I really recommend taking your time. And really, if you record a verse or a hook or something, listen over the thing a couple times. Go back at, I think it was number 5, let your songs breathe, and give it some time so that you can pick out what flaws and what things you don't really like about it too much, and redo them, because once you put a song out there, it's out there. You know what I'm saying? You really only have that one chance to get it just right before it's out there. And then if you put a song out and it's not necessarily the way that you wanted it, and this happens to me a lot, you may listen to it 6 months down the line and find all these things that you did wrong that you didn't really realize you were doing wrong at the time. But now that you've grown a little more as an artist, you find all these flaws in your previous work. And the more that you do some perfectionist type stuff and take your time, the less that will happen. And you really don't want to put out a song and then have to delete it because there's some part of it that really sticks out and kind of ruins it for you. And trust me, everybody has probably done this. Number 9, have fun. Remember that this isn't necessarily a full-time job, and it doesn't have to be treated that way, even if it really is your full-time job. Remember that music is something that comes from your soul and puts out specific vibes. And if you're not having any fun with it whatsoever, your music is going to suffer from that. I could go into detail about this, but the reality of it is that if you're trying too hard and you're focused way too much on the amount of views you're trying to get or the money that you're trying to get from it, almost all the time your music quality is going to suffer because of that. Remember to have fun. This will also probably make you have some more creative work too, so yeah. And number 10, the very last tip that I have for you is accept criticism. A lot of songs that I've made in the past, I didn't really even realize what flaws they may have had, and I had to show my music to other people and get their opinions on certain things before I actually found out that there was some really big issue with the song. And there are friends that I've shown some of my music to, and they will pause at a certain part of the song and be like, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was fucking whack. And as much as that hurts your feelings a little bit, sometimes you won't pick up on those things on your own, and it's good to hear and have that brought to your attention. Seriously think about some of these things if you intend to be a very serious artist, because all of what I've just talked about I think is very, very important, and is a lot of things that, like I said, I wish that I was thinking about when I first started to try to make music. My name is Cologne. Have a good day.